One day. Only say you do kahawa.
Yeah, jika say de. Sorry.
Okay. Wachak kirwani. Rwakie jo nikwa Ramogi.
All right. Okay. Right. Nyikwara muga jwang erukamano. Erukamano kuom biro e budhoni matin ma Jumapili godhiambo ni wan to chieng'wa ni en chieng' culture and resources. Mano e kaka wan wang'eye. Koro jogo moseyuoro duto warwakou jogo mane X Space, joma nie YouTube, joma nie Facebook, jogo mane Urban Talk, jogo mane Substack. Kariburu e budho ma udundo ma wan go masani ka none other than GK Ramoth dwaro connect nwa culture and resources. Wasebet ga number of topics, culture and something, culture versus something. Kawuono wal culture, wase timo culture versus time, wase timo a number of them. Kawuono watimo culture and resources. Kaka pile ma en Uda Onle, to kawuono to kan host an mna wendo an bende kaka un Ramoth. Kawuono ema onego nwa nyagweno ka wacham, lakini gima nyaka wang'e en ni wabiro iru ka an kachiel gi Ramoth ka opuodhwa gi Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education. So we are in a journey, and as a student of Luo consciousness, I believe we are on a journey of rediscovering our history, preserving our culture, and awakening the dignity of our people in these topics. They're just around us, but no one picks them and runs with them head on to make us understand. And so therefore, GK Ramoth osekawo thuolo mare mar biro ga mondo wuo kodwa wechegi. Our role is not to speak for the Luo culture, but to create a space where Luo culture can speak for itself through its history, philosophy, language, and lived experiences. The culture speaks for itself. You don't hold the culture's hand. Culture is a millions and millions. Luo culture that culminates into its consciousness is millions and millions of years old. You cannot purport to be guiding it. It guides you. So I take this opportunity to welcome all of you. I thank the technical team. I thank our families. I thank Ramogi Cultural Institute. I thank the sound engineers and all these people who make this possible. And most importantly, I thank you, cultural champions who are here and those who are still joining. GK, we are amigo mundo ichake. Come
Erokamano nikech iserwako nikwa Ramogi. Bogon gimane erokamano kuom bet ka mondo watim girwani. This our thing. Girwani. To kachako telo nadwa chako gi mostly kaka wachakoga this weekend sessions. Tiega video one way or another. Tiega video. To my video matelo ngini senene. Nadwa mana kill it to highlight something.
Gosh,
Where is our history? Because the kind of history which we are teaching is the history of the colony. So where were we within this colony? What were we doing? And that is where you find you don't get much thought about our fight against the colonialism. You don't find the children being taught about the essence of Mau Mau. You don't find them being taught that this struggle started a long time ago, that there were people who came here, they had not been called by anybody, they just arrived and they started elbowing their way into our territory. And then the history which was there was to justify their coming. Why were we being taught about that we all migrated from the Congo? It is to justify that everybody has come here. So this is nobody's land. Everybody is an alien here, and you all came here. But when you go to the archaeological record, you find that archaeological record has records from the Stone Age, the Late Stone Age, the Middle Stone Age, the Later Stone Age, the Iron Age. So you don't see that migration happening because you have this historical record which shows that this land was occupied for millions of years. So it was never vacant, but nobody still talks about that one. So all what we are told is that we all migrated. The Bantus came from Congo, as if there was a reservoir there maybe of people, that there were people who came from the north, and they arrived here. And you wonder why we were not migrating to the other areas. So everybody was heading to Kenya. So it was just a justification of the colony. And for me, I never agree with that theory that we were migrating here from Congo, because I see it as a part of that colonial project to justify their essence, that they can also say we also migrated from Europe. So you cannot say that you owned this land. We also came, the Portuguese came, the Swahili came, the Arabs came. You also came from Congo, you can also go back. So nobody has the right to justify that they owned this place simply by arriving first.
Wonle. Yapa. Yapa ti.
Umedo koro duwe manade ni. Umedo duwe. Angima, you can. There is a way movement marji or mention movement marji. We mentioned a few years back, hundreds of some years back, but actually part of that narrative is for people to believe that you can't claim this place. Everyone came from somewhere. And so onge ng'ama go authority mar wacho ni wan jo Kenya, wan jo Luo, wan jo kama nikech apparently ng'ato ka ng'ato nowuok from somewhere. Aonge gi wach gik mowachogo except one thing madwa wacho en ni akia kaka culturally Mau onego be ni puonjo nations duto manobiro together. By default onge ng'ama noketogi together. Nogora gora some maps to wacho ni bas un koro kae map ni kae koro iluongo ni Kenya, kachi iluongo ni Tanzania. Whoever was cut in between gi map no, kata in Masaif to koro moko that line ngado Tanzania udong Tanzania moko ngado Kenya. Same to the other line of the border in Uganda, Mount Elgon, Teso Mokoni, Kenya, Teso Mokoni, Uganda. All those things happened like that. I'm yet to put my head together around. He didn't talk about culture. I'm trying to listen. I didn't hear him mention anything to do with culture. And then I'm still trying to understand how all these movements of Jomo to everybody came, but we have only to teach people. I don't have a problem with that. But once Kise Kele into the limelight of everybody and we're talking for the country called Kenya, and you limit it completely, narrow it down to Mau Mau, Nyithindo kuponja about Mau Mau. I don't have a problem with it, but I have a problem with the Ngamawa Chenikech and Bende and Managajenda Mare. Nitia way, if you would have talked about this thing, if he's really talking about culture, I would have said, okay, that needs to be explored. But having said that, every one of them, including Natmanya Lubido ni samro wacho wechegi, and bende agenda mare en mana tierego, and bende en mana gi kamo derive the narrative mokelono. I finish kawajani an mane momio luo consciousness. You can't put it anywhere. It doesn't claim ni ke joma claim kodeni we walked kia kure watima ngwat and doesn't go deeper into the gist of it. Bende still nitiere a number of issues to be handled there. But I don't oka disconnect gimoro mane joluo mane wacho ni joluo ken kechi wago dala gi tiend gweno to tiend gweno ke kore momiyo wake ok wanyal. How do you put those things together? I don't understand it. But in finishing, culture and tradition is quite a problem for all of us. Someone mentioned culture. To everything we're talking about in traditions, and we think we're talking about culture, and vice versa. That is why discussions, Mango Kaigi, they are very important if you take them and create a distinction. Tibrongeoni. Whenever somebody is talking, no man, you're talking about traditions. You're not talking about culture and consciousness. Traditions change every time. Traditions go change. Moko bende chalre. Nyombo is just nyombo. Nyombi tero dhiang. Kisis will the nyombo tero dhiang. Luos will nyombo tero dhiang. Kalenjins and all that. So those are traditions. But the conscious. If we go deep into the consciousness, then everybody gets lost. We run to the easier things to talk about, and we can create narratives around them. I don't think there is a lot of narrative that is created in that talk that needs to be, that can give a whole topic of discussion, JK.
Dokele just to our attention, Nikechi, that whole story, mawachoni, egimo sebe to kwa wachokani, this idea man I lot and this tie an agenda behind it. To no parona story moro mane time moro no wuyo kod mama moro sani in the late. To nowacho gimoro ma I wonder katimre sani in this situation. Nowacho ni joluo kata kikelon gi gima make sense, gima ber. No. Onagi kikelon gi gima ber ma make sense. To ok gibi make. So yot mondo jomoko kwale. Nkech other than ka and in Luo spaces boko. Isewinjo where miwacho ni this idea, this story is a colonial product. En manaka. So it would be sad ka jomoko winje and they catch it.
It's very Ramon, just the sorry, Angadi, it's very key that you say that, Nikech. I've just got a message from someone much, and that person was listening to us here, but he can't articulate what he's trying to bring out. Or your that is what one of our listeners has said. He listened to us.
There's nowhere else you hear. There's so many things, maybe in Joka, you don't hear anywhere else on the internet. Not in Twitter, on the internet. There's things more common on the internet. Kadidiko na man. So no, actually, the sad thing is you look alone, something like that. But ibo magi. Nkech mano seringo kode. To know you specifically. Aparo ntie kamoro mane wantie time margin zicha. Mana wacho gini. The same thing. Same thing. So
JK, it's quite key. I listened to something yesterday. A lady derive narratives. Ni Luo tradition, pure Luo tradition, and nyakater dhiang, nyakanyuomi dhiang. But you see, can't at most a bit calling to listen to us. Dhiang was not even a Luo thing. Tero in such thing. It wasn't. It was introduced later on in life, but by other people. No, it wasn't a Luo thing. Beards, if we understood what Luos used to do, deep inside Luo consciousness. So the Angen Biro, but you see somebody sits and tells listeners, ni Luos in margi traditionally gin margi en nyuomo dhiang. Makok nyuomi dhiang. Toko kwani no nyuomi. Yeah.
So do I claim no warrior for the word Luo, for people who are Luo. Mao nagi do claim, kata kiwinjo kako owacho gigo, mano nagi to do claim no speak for Luos. Something that okia kata what it is, okia part of it.
And so the fear in me is this. Kaka tamna ngacho wuoyo ni nyithindo ok puonj about Mau and all that. Because the question also is not about puonjo, and it's good for people to know. Remember, when we are architects of wanting people to know history. But we don't want just anything said in the past to be called history. It could be a past thing, but it's not your history. Ngat Mangisino is telling you something that is not part and parcel of your history, but because it happened we occurred years ago and many years ago, you think it's part of your history. So everybody can come up and say, "Wapunj youths, wapunj nyithindo, these things wapunj," but they could be making an error in whatever they're passing down to the next generation. We have to be very, very careful in that too. So this thing, mangato yalo, nyaka wapunj nyithindwa, nyaka wapunj youths, gimatimre and all that. You can be the fact that something happened, or am I talking, the fact that something have been happening for the last 20, 30, 40, even 100 years, and then you make it normal, doesn't mean it was right. There is nothing to say it was right, but it's right for you because it has been happening for many years, and therefore in our koro and our culture. The Ankoro Sebedo culture malu completely. Nobody digs deeper like Ramogi did and told us here, Guinea, it's the Luos did initially Luos one. They had nothing to do with the cow. It used to be beards. And then somebody commercially introduced Biang. We even went ahead and said, Ramoth, now you get taxed. Ke the nyuombo to igoni bei mar nyako no kalore gi masomo mosomo. Kosomo nyaka university chulo tax. Is that also still tradition, Luo tradition? Mite dhiang' nyaka nyuom.
Eneno gima nowacho ka telo time moro mani wacho ni bedo jadoho e bedo jaluo. to penjo ni jomoko te nyaka Mswati ma jadoho ma en koro en professional jadoho. Obe en jaluo. So in the same vein, ka ng'ato nyuomo dhiang' kata obedo Mkamba, mano min en jaluo. Gigi telo onge an kaka neno onge fear ni wan onge. Emomiyo agolo this clip. Ineno gima wawacho ka make sense to jomoko be moken joluo. Gineno how they thought. Nasewacho ni it is a unified thought. Ng'ato nyalo luwe bonede sense in it. Emomiyo ano ka gole mondo awach ni ng'ano is wrong or right. Angiso ineno. You see? Nwang'isi ni Luo has been stable for a long time. Tina jomoko nyalo luo that thought and come to a conclusion that ginyalo apply to them. But mano gima giwinjo from one. So waonge fear ni gima wawacho gi en guesswork. Ok gin guesswork. Ibo biro again, inyalo biro another time, jomoko nyalo kawe to gi apply to kotiyo to botiyo. Mane mangiso strength ma paro. Emomiyo agolo mano. Mondo neno. Magi manwatemo puonjo jowa. This is the effect of this Nilot akia ng'owa, Bantu akia ng'owa. This is the main aim. To jogo nyalo apply algorithm no ma paro to make sense nigi. Make sense nigi bodhi obed kamoro mong'is jogi. Ne. Ma kata kaneno is a colonial product. Amo mi ipuonjowa this thing kama kata ka apply this case to Mau Mau. Pod make sense. Amo mi nawachon mama chane wachon jowa. Kata kogwedh gi nadi. To my ma hope no abo change. To yot gamayo gi. Especially ken an intellectual tool. Also can some of the best things minyalo bet go is a theory, a concept. So okao concept no bodhi botiyo go to make sense ne jogi. Ginyalo chako build kata their own organization. Manwasomo ka by using knowledge no. Kanye ma jowa bet ga. Ogikaw ga gigi as intellectual tools. Nawacho gin gidwa gigi as mbaka, as intellectual entertainment. Ng'ato dhi boketre nyaka i video mondo wach na an mawacho gini. Oringo. Gima nwang'eyo onosebet kwa wache for the past almost 4 years. So, I hope in the next generation bobet joma market pio to nyalo tiyo gigi. Mwapenje gan ilana ngo from this. Ilana ngo. Ongea jama bet ka for 3 hours for intellectual entertainment. To jomoko nyalo biro ka for a very short time to get the idea to gidhi to giloso go gimoro. Ok make sense. So mano ne en mana mano ngiso ne. Ineno gik mowacho gi kata ka ng'at moro dhi apply to pod tiyo. Ok en conspiracy theories mek joluo. That framework, you see the framework Luo worldview and a unified ideology, the end stable and very stable. Emomiyo tell example mimiyo ano. Emomiyo so many people pop up with all types of ideas to derail this. One or they were online. Jomoko by day, then more and more people biro easy. Moko wacho Jaluo and this, Jaluo and that, Jaluo and this, Jaluo and that, Jaluo and this. And kwal pachi away from the core. At least wachopo to the core. Wachopo to the core of it. Mana, by the way.
Where is our history? Because the kind of history which we are teaching.
Wacha. Wasewinjo mana. Yes. Where art thou? Nakamatino ago. Mostelo agolma. Akongo.
White power still believes that we are a group of savages to be taught to be civilized. A lot of black people also believe that they are a group of savages that
Winjema. Nkechema korodetu kwa woki level mane machanene na by the way. Koroka wadonjo into the higher levels of kama African tie. Kata jowa mang'eny tie momi ok respond to concepts go kabiro. Ok respond nikech this is the ideology mamako. Obedo kuche joluo, ma is the driving ideology.
white power still believes that we are a group of savages to be taught to be civilized. A lot of black people also believe that they are a group of savages that can do nothing without white validation. And our leaders think so, by the way. Our leaders, the corruption you see, the buffoonery you see, is caused by lack of faith in blackness. And we have to restore that. We have to restore first faith in blackness. And then we must do what we call as a program that we will do is moral restoration. And so that our kids can get out of the streets where they are getting drugs. But they won't get out of the streets if we are offering the same education that colonialism gave them, the same inferiority that is taught in our universities and our schools about blackness, the same belief by black lawyers, black professionals, black people, black teachers, black doctors, that knowledge comes from whiteness. Knowledge comes from knowing who you are and developing that knowledge on the basis of your lived conditions, your lived reality, your history, the fights, the battles you've been through. That's what is that's what education is. But unfortunately, we live in a country where the majority of people, as poor as they are, believe that they are vessels into which white knowledge must be passed through. And that's what we want to reverse. Even the ones you say are going to oppose us, that's the problem. Is that there is no faith in a black solution. There's no faith. It's not that
side
it's
or what's happening.
By the way, if
stop.
you go deeper philosophically into what this is, it's because they
And side now again, Otimbela. Or stop side ni. Only.
Tugo matin to stop. Tugo matin to stop. Tugo matin to stop. I don't know why.
Mara to flow. Ebu penje technical team kaen gine. Wachaki kendo. Watieki alafone kanyalo gine.
detest who they are, and they detest anything that looks like them. Exactly. Because their belief is that a solution to problems of an African person or a black person must come from a white person, a European, or a black person who peddles Eurocentric knowledge or Eurocentric solutions, and that's
Keki winje telo. Otugo.
Yeah, I got it. I don't know something. Matimare YouTube. Ngato wacho ni YouTube ni or DY. I said DY YouTube already. I don't know what has happened there.
Meaning?
Those who have joined in the YouTube has been giwacho no digi.
Oh, digi mean what?
I think can
Oh, ginyal
if you
neno.
stopped, I'm not.
Oh, ginyal neno.
Let me ask. Let me ask Namoro na message and what's the issue there?
Mago kawaida. Mago.
Yeah, but
Go.
GK, I'm not surprised Gingat Miketoni. For those who don't know him, and it's just coincidental. Okay, you planned or we planned. This is a senior counsel Moses Skakani. He's a South African advocate, and one of those people has moved, and he's actually took over from he's Boyd as the one who took over from Steve Biko when Biko died. He's spearheaded a lot that consciousness talk. One of those people, various critics of ANC government, because he doesn't believe in their ideology at all. Actually, I mean, I know around. I'm not talking because of this message. I'm just talking about the person he is, and he's always stood his ground about white monopoly capital. He talks about white monopoly capital all the time, and he actually went ahead and formed a black lawyers caucus in South Africa. So they have got a black law group a law group that is consisted of only black lawyers. They don't want a white lawyer in it. So I'm not shocked with what he's saying here. He's very he's always has always propagated consciousness, black consciousness. So I'm not shocked. And he wrote a book, a very good book in December. It came out December 2024, The Odyssey of Power. And he tore ANC government into pieces in that book. So yeah. I'm not surprised with what he's saying here. But people have listened to it. I hope they are listening. It's purely consciousness. We still believe in our hope and our salvation can only come from a white person.
Ano kanyal ngisini into Ikmotimo. But in this particular clip, our people solve their own problem, then apply their own solutions, or articulate the problem completely.
Sorry, GK. Sorry. I can. These messages, Kagibir, I don't know. People are having a problem joining X. Mokonge problem in the messages. I hope you, and I know you heard them, but just wanted to highlight on that.
Alafu abantok be oketo ni nyakichul ekine awa gini okinyal neno by itself. Amomi advice jomoko ni kinyalo dhi Substack. Angeni it is very outside the way, but inyalo dhi Substack and subscribe if it code account and join ours and free. Free.
So join Substack, guys.
Podwabo work on other solutions very soon. And get Facebook bentie. Facebook be one gine.
Yeah, Facebook should be live, JK.
Facebook ntie. So nego move on to Facebook, Substack, Abotero Wona Journey, other things. Lakini gimotimo ka or articulate the problem completely. To actually the problem or can kata anything is lack of faith in blackness. Nkech ji mang'eny wachoga many things. But chopo to a place where me articulate the problem. Kiparo story manwa somo ma lucha. Mar the twins. Mar Poco. Actually, the key to that story then how to solve issues. How to come to the conclusion. The first key and identify the problem really clearly. What is the problem? And when we again the first technology and questions. So I don't know this one. Only see what the problem is. Wa play ye kendon kech manema na gine na suspect. Ni jibo winje to gibo kao the positivity of it. But not the solution of it. In case you articulate the problem, then what is the solution?
Correct.
No, I can't. And very rare you do jamami what the problem really is. You see what? Okay. My the issue with Europeanness, my the issue. Kaka example mangacho wacho. No, the issue with this story is this story, the result of this story, and you cannot say you own the land. That is why in me, these other stories come. You cannot say you own the land. Ane point manatem okay. Ni we kataka giwacho wach mau. Gimomio eno wache. The reason why you point out this, to them it is more clear and mau is about land. So to them, freedom is about land, on the right to land. Momi okete kanyo. Ochala very simple thing, but gitimo gima very interesting. So obeko uoyo, otimo gima very, very interesting. Very interesting.
White power still believes that we are a group of savages to be taught to be civilized. A lot of black people also believe that they are a group of savages that can do nothing without white validation. And our leaders think so, by the way. Our leaders, the corruption you see, the buffoonery you see, is caused by lack of faith in blackness. And we have to restore that. We have to restore first faith in blackness. And then we must do what we call as a program that we will do is moral restoration. And so that our kids can get out of the streets where they are getting drugs. But they won't get out of the streets if we are offering the same education that colonialism gave them, the same inferiority that is taught in our universities and our schools about blackness, the same belief by black lawyers, black professionals, black people, black teachers, black doctors, that knowledge comes from whiteness. Knowledge comes from knowing who you are and developing that knowledge on the basis of your lived conditions, your lived reality, your history, the fights, the battles you've been through. That's what is That's what education is. But unfortunately, we live in a country where the majority of people, as poor as they are, believe that they are vessels into which white knowledge must be passed through. And that's what we want to reverse. Even the ones you say are going to oppose us. That's the problem. Is that there is no faith in a black solution. There is no faith. It's not that it's us they will be opposing, by the way, if you go deeper philosophically into what this is. It's because they detest who they are and they detest anything that looks like them.
Exactly.
Because their belief is that a solution to problems of an African person or a black person must come from a white person, a European, or a black person who who peddles Eurocentric knowledge or Eurocentric solutions, and that's
Guinean 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. Some of the most important 2 minutes. And okay, about the story and the clearness maneno go Guinea. Nkech kana in the end wachon jogi bo opposers. But okibi opposers nikech just opposing because they have an issue with themselves.
Actually, it's not that as they will be opposing. They will be opposing them, the issue that the lack of faith that they've got in themselves.
In themselves. Emome natemo kelo that point ni ka ng'ato winje in this time of Traore and moro mawuoyo gacha and Lumumba, Igbo get caught up in the positivity of it. Africa should do for itself. Africa should take control of its resources. But then more articulating is in but Jogi, they have an issue with themselves. So Obo Betna the African. Anything might remind them of Africanness. Obo oppose. You are this thing to Luoness. You are the same mentality to Luoness. Development to Onagi is rejecting Luoness. Modernity is rejecting Luoness. So kise reject, nyaki fill that vacuum. So jomopongo your environment is more white supremacy. And everywhere. Ineno dok nyaka the concept no actually the school or dok nyaka the concept no actually what is education. Not discuss education. Actually, education is for survival, not degrees, not accolades. It is for survival. To do go at that point. I imagine in a very short clip, but there's so much mangato nyalo miss. So many points you must say that somebody can in 2 minutes, but in 2 minutes or so much. Jimangeng temoga convince Eurasians they misunderstand our culture. They misunderstand our traditions. Money is the problem. Money temo actually. Majority of Jomoacho culture, it is not they're doing it for us. They're doing it to sell it to the European. Because of that emptiness. Okay, for us to find and restore belief in blackness. What he so that those people might respect us. Ngechwa think, okay, they just misunderstand us. What is the problem? They just misunderstand us. Kendoka Kochako, that clip is so important. Winjeka Kochako.
white power still believes that we are a group of savages to be taught to be civilized. A lot of black people. White power still believes that we are a group of savages to be taught to be civilized. A lot.
Koro question en. this culture motemoga associate gi prove to wazungu anyone gi culture and tourism and all this other stuff. Ibo convince nadingama their mindset is you are a savage to be civilized. You are a savage to be civilized. Mago to this concept Emma Biroga in development goals, Emmanuel Somo e Kenya in 2040. Look, the solution Magimi they do not use it because they think one still savages. We need to be civilized into these things. So you talk actually or a black person who peddles Eurocentric knowledge. Tanago loka 2040 cha. Total European nonsense. Onge solutions. To kitemo bedo with a solution, mi wacho na okay. Nyoro nyua some about kills. Why not bring back kills? Oluongo mano ni the Juakali economy. Already you say counter the thought. Onge ni nyalo build your economy like this, but already you say chakoluonge ni Juakali economy. The ideal is Madaraka Rising, where ukao the whole Guinea, ukao your whole economy, umi other people. So, Kawa continue beginning. Although Kawuno kwabi bodo so much. Although Kawuno kwabi bodo too much. Too much. And kendo kwa doki Guinea. Ma is the 2020 2040 Manimi wacha. Leveraging private sector expertise. So we will leverage private sector expertise. Masugini. Nado kilo the document mar indigenous knowledge systems. So question mara telo en inyalo nadi build capital. Anyalo nadi build capital with Joma idea of blackness is so distorted. Inyalo nadi build economy with Joma the idea of blackness is so backward. There's no confidence in blackness. Mano which endeavor mi botimo that will have impact. Okay, it's the whole mondingen that whole these discussions again nonsense of deal with this.
JK, iwinja?
Awinje. Ni
JK.
lala lakini kora awinje.
Yeah, your last again, no, the change. JK, I'd love to work very shortly. Gima one of the leaders Owacho. When we want everybody to have access to clean water, those who have champagne pay those who have no water to fight us. And many at times, those without drinking water agree to fight us. Anwo. Anwoyo.
Mhm.
En gima Moses kaka nowachocha, but in a different way. When we want everybody to have access to clean drinking water, those who have champagne pay those who don't have clean drinking water to fight us. And many at times, those without that clean drinking water agree to fight us.
Mhm.
In yonge pito ng'achan gi champagne, which means Monday bed gi champagne ma flow, it means pito koro is just like a joke for you. In kode, or there pa, you cannot pen the sink, you cannot pen water tub gine bathrooms gin pee and all that, because in Koro you are talking in another level champagne. So when we want everybody to have access to clean drinking water, those who have champagne pay. They pay those who don't have that drinking water to fight us. And many at times they agree and they fight us. They don't have confidence in themselves. The people with champagne are believed to have everything. When they pay us, they tell us fight them, even if whatever they are doing is for us. Doesn't matter. We've been paid by people who have champagne. We don't need that water after all. Say chulo ami are o mi a beach.
Telo odhi bet interesting mbele ka. Odhi bet interesting mbele ka. Iwacho the next major war midhi go in the world will be because of water.
Very connected.
In the terms of kata kineno sani telo. The question is, how did they convince us that water minyewe supermarket is safer than water from your tap? How did they pull this off? How did they pull this off? It is easier to new water at the supermarket, and key notice it is not cheap. Alcohol is cheaper. Alcohol is way cheaper than water. Get convince one adding to get to a place where that is what the water we trust.
Let me pull it further to connect it to Kamiwachenam. In Johannesburg since 2022, while I was still there, they said you can use the tap water, that tap water you have that comes in the house. You can use it to cook, you can use it to wash utensils, you can do anything, shower with it, wash clothes with it, do anything with it, but you can't drink it. So, in essence, even up to now as I speak, we leave alone Johannesburg, now it's all over the country. The water is there. There is no trouble with water. It comes. You open taps all the time. It's there. But drinking water, you specifically buy. Brainwashed properly. They brainwashed people properly, Ramoth, in that aspect, ma. as much as putting whatever you could call by all standards clean water because it's in the taps, and for it to be in the tap, some treatment must have taken place in some big tanks. There are engineers employed for that purpose. But still, you are told again, you can only use it for other uses, but don't drink it. Who is benefiting? The question in such instances, my question always is, who is benefiting here? Somebody is benefiting.
Telomano is what is interesting. How have they convinced a large percentage of the world this drinking water is not good? And water from the earth, rainwater, is not good to drink. How? Each open the way you plant that thought at the core of the psyche, mangato. Telo inige suggestion kata idea. Kako plant that nkech unie joma anyalo wacho ni unie joma otimone psychology matin. How do you ichopo kure be plant that at the core of the person's thinking?
It's a network. Let me start from there. Just a quick one. Number one, it's a network. It's a network in the sense that, first of all, a problem will be created. This network must create a problem. How are they creating this problem? You go to doctors and in the problem, which water are you drinking? Not the water from the tap. Indiko near few antibiotics, Kenya and all that, and then under the prescription note, indiko nini, buy bottled water for drinking. Bana, a problem was created. These people, it's a network. So this problem must look genuine. The person who is going to pocket the money that is into it millions from bottling companies is not telling you to buy his water. He has not told you. It's somebody you trust with your life. A GP has told you. Or the GP might send you to a specialist like they do. Some GPs might roughly say, don't drink this water tap in Polokwane. Yes, it's in the tap, but it's not good water. You take it. It's a doctor who has looked at your life, has looked at you and told you. The person who is selling the water or who has got, not selling, but the person who owns, not the person who is selling, those are two different people. The person who owns the bottling company has not told you, so you can't fault them. They're not even in the picture at all. So the brain has already been hit with a hammer at the central point where there is a lot of trust. Daktari amesema, Dr. Mwacho, koro ini ng'eyo ni kadokio ng'eyo, you are not going to be sick nikech daktari wacho ni kik modh pi, problem ni wuok gi pi. That is where the network starts. So the brain has been twisted to believe that the problem is the water. If 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 families are told by one doctor, it spreads like bushfire. The other doctor does the same. So that is how they started. Ramoth, you said it in one of our programs, that they look at your pattern. They first of all learn you. They look at your thinking pattern. How do you think? They study you. They study us first properly. They've been doing it for many, many, many years. Then once they know how you think, that is where they go and put a barrier. They make you realize that Oh, this is where the problem is. And once the country has been biologically convinced that shida ma igino en pi, or shida ma ungo tu ma ingo no en pi emokele, the whole population, those who can afford, the middle class, moko poko nyono kata hospital, but giwinjo ka jog, nya tero nyathina hospital, nya tero jaoda, nya tero joga nyodhi hospital nyoro, to daktari wacho ni pigni rach, imodho ga pi mane? Na modho ga pi tapa, kik imodho mano. That spreads like bushfire. That is the psychology of the brain, how it works. You get it from somebody else, you believe it, you also go ahead and spread it. Before you know it, somebody, forget about the other networks. From here, somebody is laughing straight to the bank. How they meet, how they do their things and all that, that network knows how it works. I'll give you an example, another example, GK, a quick one. This school more a job can be mentioned because of obviously legal issues. Nyithindo majoratengi all the time nebedo referred ni odhione a certain psychiatrist or a particular one, Ramoth, or a psychologist and set particular ones. Ino kinyal wacho, okinyal ngiso skund no ni, no, anan gi ng'ata no. Indiko ni barua specifically go and see so and so. Kidwa duoge school no nyaki dhi ne ng'acha so. To mostly ne en mana, until one day I just couldn't stomach it. Mtapenjo ni to ang'o I know a number of white families ma nyithindgi ni on medications moko mang'eyo what they do. To gin to ok gibed referred to anyone. Gin gidhi school all the time. To ma black gitigol. It was a scheme. It was business. I was proven right. The school almost closed down. Almost. Nikech black people realized ni karane en a long con. So what happened? Nobody forced them. Somebody just played with their psychology. That was it. So emomia wacho akaduoge kadhi a branch kaduoge mae. The simple answer is depend on how do they manage to convince population. Come on, it is very easy. It's a network. These people, medical, school, and are interconnected. They own those things. They don't run them. They put black people on the run, but they own them. They are again decision makers. So the first thing they do is to read our pattern of thinking. Then they infiltrate it. And then they know how to manipulate it. To mana problem any ma wadoke problem gima wantiere cha mo wach no wakwachako cha the first statement. One waonge kod confidence in ourselves, waonge solutions. Kamga jaracharo wacho ni gini, hey, jiduto donge nang'isi nitie kata lweny ma samoro aneno ga ka ji gore ne gidwa ni nyithindgi obed streams ma jopuonj gin jorachere. Atieko jike akena duoki.
My streams not a pokningisa.
Nanyero magora. Nanyero magora piny. Particular people ma gigore gin gidwaro ni nyathine nyaka dhi stream. Kech ka nyithindo wuok e grade moro to dhi grade machielo. To ing'e kasisi ni wa kapok kata gidhi e grade no next year isedhi romo gi jopuonj mabiro puonji next year. Koro jonyuol biro ka nyithindo duogo dala to jonyuol penjo gini to jodolo penjo gini japuonj ma next year mar kisungu en ng'a, mar ang'ang'o en ng'a, mar jonyuol kiny ne ji complain neno dwaro nyathino dhi e stream. Ok owach gimomiyo, But my kocha nitie jorochere mang'eny ma puonjo that stream. Talks back to gima wachako gima kama wachake. Yeah. We don't have confidence, we don't have faith in ourselves or in our own. One the problem is skin. We have a problem with our skin. One the problem is skin thing.
Omit telo, omit. Omit
Momiyo
sana.
liel ka ji dhi tero law mara ka ji dhi kanisa ti irwako raw marachar. Or leave alone kanisa. Let me not say kanisa. Gimoro mopogre kanisa obed arus obed gimoro maber. Bright clothes. Mostly iwinjo no white party kiang'ang. To liel to ka ji dhiye to en law marateng'. Ang'o momiyo?
Nikech ka gidhi liel to nitie chilo. So ok gidwa lewni ochid. Ting'eni igologi mana ka ng'ato tho. So nyaka gibed preserved.
To bed associated gi jachien rateng' mzungu rachar. In udhi ka jochiende joma tho. Rwakuru gik marotenge go. Dhi mbele JK.
Yeah, ok odwa nochid. Wadwan gidong' adong'a black kamano nikech ji tho more than wadhi party. So party between one death and another and party for bright colors. But and very interesting. And interesting. We are talking to Nyoro Wacho about kaka ne from capital and production. Osewacho very many times ni nyaka obed producers, especially chuo. Nyoro some about the farmer. I know what's about the guilds. About Okanyo. There were also cottage industries in pre-colonial Africa. Metalware, pottery, glass, ironworking, gold, silver mining, basketry, leatherworks, woodwork, clothing, and others. The glass industry in Benin, the glass industry made extraordinary strides. In Nigeria, the cloth industry was an ancient craft. Kano attained historical prominence in the 14th century with their fine indigo-dyed cloth that was traded for goods from North Africa. Is important in case at that time North Africa a lot of trade maneka look at the Europe. In case that place, North Africa, paro nenti kapod jo Arabs gipoko biro, nenti a lot of Greeks, Romans, negingeny kanya. Even before the discovery of cotton, other materials had been used. The Igbo, for example, made clothes from fibrous bark of trees. The Asante also are famous for their cotton and bark cloth, so Kente and Adumfo. Craftsmen, artisans, goldsmiths, blacksmiths produce all types of goods in Africa. In many communities, so I'll point out this as a side, on the side knee. The reason it went down, these craftspeople, Mago was the major ones that they were hunting. Through slavery, Mago was the ones they wanted. Those are the ones they really wanted. They wanted people who could build. The craftsmen organized themselves into guilds, and these guilds recruited and trained apprentices, disciplined members, controlled the production of goods. Ginmanegi controlled the production of goods, not the so-called market. Set the standard of goods. Ginmanegi set the standard, not so-called market or so-called government. and made laws against undercutting and inflating prices for its members. Craft guild production and guild organization reached their greatest development among the Nupe, Hausa, Yoruba, and Benin. No more towards giveaway about West Africa, but there were guilds. Katakisen, the side of East Africa to realize there was a lot. There was a lot. Nena Wabochopo at that time, one time. There were guilds of carpenters, masons, woodworkers, potters, weavers, glassmakers, iron ore miners, blacksmiths, brassmiths, and silversmiths. I do point out Gimoro. Gi seems simple. Gi seem very, very simple. But Wakao, people like weavers, not weavers, weavers. In Europe, after slavery, after slavery, after enslavement of the Africans, not the enslaved Africans to innovate a lot. Kitchen negative majority of the work. So a lot of the innovation, me credit to Jogi, crediting at also the cotton genie. No make cotton more easier to work on. Ngamok tea guy in the fields, he has no relationship with cotton. Atibet Kanyo to come up with an invention about cotton. Mano, anomaly ma history. Kaka how we drink water in bottles, plastic bottles, and it is safer than water from the tap water. To mine plastic, microplastics, contaminate the water. But the computers, memory, how they were programming the memory, negi learn from the weavers. Joma weave materials. Kinkech negi chopo a place where they negi nyalo keto pattern we will kaka negi lungo gigi. To gino ne nyalo create a certain pattern. Ne nyalo weave a certain pattern. Kato bedi carpet, obedi clothes, obedi ango. Koro negi nge these cards. Kanyo idea of the memorization process ma computer no work here. Kanye the motherboard designs no work here. Kidoki history of computers. So Jogi Wachon, there were guilds of carpenters, masons, woodworkers, potters, glassmakers, iron ore miners, blacksmiths, brassmiths, and silversmiths. Giwacho something very important. Naimo means enslavement of Africans and colonization, but those super important. Kajo Gwachogan, this is why Europe no underdevelop Africa. Ma is a very important point. Adoparonini, these silversmiths and brassmiths, the first cars, Kawazunge Pokocha Koloso Gari, with a lot of plastics. They were made of metal. So these metals, Neji hammer them by hand. So these smiths, blacksmiths, brassmiths, ironsmiths, silversmiths, Negin very important. But one need go lower in those things. One in Betty school, Gusut, Kutai. He learned some esoteric something. Ka the lawyer ne watch about ngama ngi Europeanized knowledge. Okinyal tiyo. Nkech kagise keto these guilds to telo parini these guilds in Africa negin for passing the skill and disciplining and gig. In Europe, the associations manegi birogo was to keep the blacks out. Oknegi form to protect and pass on the skills first, then to keep the enslaved Africans and enslaved indigenous blacks in America before, in case there were blacks in America before. It was to not let them in case after The enslavement process no stop being official, no ebedo official. It is sanctioned by the government. So Odok underground. Nentie, so many of the enslaved, mobedo free, who had so many skills. Now Achokan, they were just not farmers. They were carpenters, masons, woodworkers, potters, weavers. These professions miwachogi. And one evidence in White House. Kata Trump nowacho, inyalo Google maine. Trump nowacho it was made by enslaved Africans. The White House. The White House mochung kanyono. Kama Trump ntie sani no konindo ko tan kagigin. Ngama no design gino, that building was an African, a black architect. The White House. Majority of universities more kwa digi. The buildings were built by enslaved labor. Universities gonna own some enslaved Africans and indigenous black people from there. So by the time my enslavement process were obeyed official, there are so many people with skills. The number of Europeans managing skills was very little. Okay, Negi lost a system where Negin gods, you're supposed to lay about and just have it easy. So watch on these things existed and very important. A person was free to join any guild he or she desired. Freedom of association. No African chief or king would dare ban a guild. It was unthinkable. In fact, the right to form an association was inalienable. Most guilds were organized on a family basis. Son belonging to his father's guild, but outsiders were free to join. Each guild had its leader, who, in consultation with the members, set rules and standards. Tell in this type of system, insistence on the males. Okay, these have a bigger purpose than just dala. These have a bigger purpose than watchman girango their parents. There's a system of knowledge transmission that was very important. And then even the Luo history mawanego is cartoonish. Cartoonish. Onge these parts ongega. Joka ne water kagin naked, and that is all they were doing. Negi the idea everywhere, kagin naked. Noko badogi. You know. Na yudo gimoro ka. I hope nanyalo yude telo. Na yudo gimoro ka miya paro. Nadwa ng'isi gimoro. Nitie something mani penja last time. Abo manye. Each guild had its leader. Okay. In Benin, the members of the craft guild, worked on one another's raw materials, but the marketing of the finished product was left to the individual. So in and on, there was a marketing process. So Gikmokomi marketing are not new in Africa. And then since Europeans it must be right. Kaka the lawyer newacho. Wacho ni luonge nadi the lawyer.
Muzi.
Kaka Muzi newacho. They also helped one another in sickness and one another's family in the event of death. In many communities, guild leaders served as members of the King's Council. This facilitated communication between the ruler and the guilds, and provided a conduit to channel the concerns of guild members to the king, as well as seek royal protection for the crafts industry. Just Telomana, this part is why it was necessary but called leaders who were weak. Okay, Carnegie kelo cheap products by their not so skilled carpenters and masons and brassmiths and silversmiths. Negi yudo such a resistance nikech to a big extent we did not need that junk manegi kelo.
Oh, negi kelo the fake
Nikech,
McCoy.
what do we need all those things? Mwatimoto people who can produce for us what we need.
The real McCoy.
Yeah, one the education, muzi na wachacha. Education for survival and our environment. So Nyaka bed with weak kings, which in another process and Nyakasani. Weak leaders, Mabo bring all those things from somewhere else. Nothing will say change. Nothing has changed in those thousands of years.
Traditional regalia. Dongenyo chwacho kaka tan traditional regalia kuro iusogi joma kia anything about that. Nothing.
Joma worship the Ankamoro and this type of things.
Ema uso ni in your traditional regalia.
The protect koroni wacho nade ni mago e joma ok en joluo nikech gin ok gikawo dhiang' holy ok ginyuomb kata gi dhiang'. The protection sought was more of a military nature than economic. Iwinjo kaka wacho, the protection sought was more of a military nature than economic. For example, the king could not control or prevent the movement of gold in trade, but could use the royal army to defend gold mines and shops of goldsmiths should they become under siege from neighboring states. Telo gik mineno America timo sani. You see, they had to take these Africans. They had to enslave them. And when me add you with the word enslave, not slave, enslave. Ikaungama free, and you make them do everything they're doing for you. It through an enslavement process.
Ramoth koro nitiere just a break kanyamati. Nitiere nyathi Africa koro mobiro mayore. Let me say that it connects exactly gi statement miwachono. Omiye penj a grade 4 child. Omiye penj in history to penj ni what propelled the need for slave trade or the need for slaves in American Confederates. To omiye 3 choices. A, owachni need for money. B, owachni weather. And C, owachni the introduction of cotton and sugar industries. To nyathino en ondiko answer ne kona ki en. She went for nothing, none of those. To watch, these people didn't need slaves. That was her answer. Nyako, these people did not need slaves. Pod paper ne okomak nyaka sani 2 months later nikech pod bedo debated. Where is the lie? I just wanted to point that as much as we can't. This is, I'm talking about a grade 4 child. Or say education comes from you after you realize who you are. And that was the argument I put forward. Cannot change my opinion. I said this child she's not kneeling for the kind of education you people want to give, fake education you are giving her. And it's just one in a kind. There is nothing you can do about it. She has learned that her people were taken from Africa. There was no need for them. Those people didn't need them. It was a wrong thing to do. because that was her conclusion. It was a wrong thing to do. So are you giving her marking? Nikech should miss the or choose C, or are you, what do you want to punish her? Nikech ongisi and the teacher is a white teacher. Koro you do punish her nikech omulo anav, or what do you want to do?
Tell these people Guinea and tricky. Wachon, they did not need slaves. Emanyisoka, they could not do without them, or else they would not be where they are in the world. So,
yes, I understand that. But the King Nyathini, what is her point of view? She is not leaning to the education mimieni. She is also using her own mind and no answer question not based on what you are testing her on. And she's answering based on the reality which you don't want to accept, as a white person, as a teacher. You don't want to accept, and she's realistic with her
tell her. I need to see what is happening, because Kadia, there to the point, she's wrong. She's wrong. That is what they're happy for. And even though she's coming out of the questions, they cannot fear because she does not get it. Okay. Work out her answer, and I apply it to the South African situation. So apparently, why did these people need to take South Africa? Or in that broad sense. And then, Nyatio Owachini, they did not need to take South Africa because it was wrong. So, eventually, she will not know how to solve this problem. Obodong in the wrongness of it. Mane, the thing, Asebe Dokatemo, Asetemo point out from the story, from Kakanwa Chako. No, we do this.
Yes.
Maponga and these people, but they speak on the wrongness of it. Only Muzi must speak to the problem. You're not Chako with white power. No, watch a whiteness. No, watch on white power looks at us like this. She's wrong in this conclusion, Nikech. For them to acquire power, they needed South Africa. So for them to acquire power, they needed to enslave the Africans. Which means the process had to happen for them to have power. And in the world of power, power is right. Whatever it does is right. That is the essence of power. Then she cannot solve the problem. It is a nice answer, but it cannot be used to solve the problem. Why did these people need South Africa? Why did they take South Africa? It helped them acquire power. Why will they not lead South Africa? Not they would lose resources, they would lose power. And power is super addictive. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
now I pushed it forward, because I just didn't wanted to cut it short. But I pushed it forward with her, and I asked her what informed your answer. So her answer was because if slaves didn't go to build those industries and everything elsewhere, Africa would be the best as at now. We wouldn't be having the problems we have today. So don't you think in her answer, as much as she might not be solving it, but she knew that those people did the wrong thing, because by taking these people and then disabling Africa, where the labor is coming from, you've talked of them taking the Smiths, all of them, the tin Smiths, everything, they took them, carpenters, they took them. This girl is thinking that these people should have remained here and they would have done a marvelous job with Africa. But of course, she knows the power wouldn't allow that to happen. They are taken and Africa is demobilized.
Think
you don't
Keta on a level. On a I care the word to use, but kete open. Because we want the children, we want the next generation not just to use their brain, but to think effectively. And that's the point. Okay. So Nyako learn how to take her idea and put it into reality, mondoneka it works. Because it can make sense in your head, but in reality, it can make sense. And mommy wachon, go understand, ko odong in the rightness or wrongness of it, or ko be bait with an idea of how to solve it. And that is what we need. We don't need, or need another 10 Mapongas, mabongiso, what is the problem? Or need another 20 Lumumbas, mabongiso, what is the problem? And mommy, kawadiga this, wadiga deep. Okay, this motivational, mana lungo the positivity of it, giwinjo everywhere. I bear goal of these clips online. They have met them. But really, what this guy is articulating, really the problem. Only see the positivity of what Africa could be. Only see really what the problem is. Only see how to solve it. What one thing to Odonkanyo, and they get there early. So, gimomi wacho kamanyo ni, these guys have adapted. After learning the skills, geek out the skills to give me your computer. Now, the information of the Africans, neg yudo a way to pull it from his brain and give it onto a computer. So this child will be using AI without realizing that this thing is supposed to, it is their competition. And the competition for the African genius. That African ingenuity. This is its competition. So Obo dwell in the old world, Otokonen, this guy has upgraded. Koro biro for you completely. Koro oketi in a position where enslavement, oketi in a position where you will feed this thing. You're thinking. And it keeps getting better and better and better. So you don't need kako change the environment. Ibo dong in the rightness of it. But to upgrade, Sani Obong is in, I do not enslave anyone.
You know, say,
manema watemoga wachoni, kataken history. Mommy, nine no kan last week kan watime. No kalungi so much history, na lungi as time. Time. Range as a record of time. But not past, present, future, as time that is continuous, which you are. So inyalosomo something about that enslavement process. Tiparon, you have escaped it in case there are no chains. But being in that classroom, you're going through it. And then Koroki Bokocha has been hidden. And the system of doing this thing to you has become way better. Example, a better example, in South Africa, Sani, they're fighting against these other people, and they cannot dare go fight against this person who has caused the problem.
Exactly.
So, wabo chopo to that stage where we think we are solving this thing, but and come on. So it is encouraging to see our children thinking like this. It is very encouraging to see them thinking outside the box. But what tweak it to a place where you think effectively. Mine is encouraging to see
our need us to move at the Kamawan Kirich. I think what I gave it to her, because remember also you have to engage with her at based on her appropriate age. This is a 10-year-old child. So you can't. I wish it was a high school child who had said this or done this, because it would have been it would have come out very, because that's now a teenager. You can mentor properly and talk to them, move them from Lumumbas and Mapongas to Skakani. But you know, a 10-year-old child also, you can only push them a bit, yeah, to some place. Yeah.
Telo kikiluor,
Just
adong isi kama
to
kikiluor.
land it there.
Telo adong isi kama kikiluor. I have this, I sebet with this issue so much. Kikiluor. Kata yot, I sebet with this issue. Push it. Our children are super dynamic. More so, how this system really kills them is it under teach their creativity.
But you know, Ramoth, to hit it properly, pushing it, I wouldn't mind pushing it at a level that it can be pushed. But you see, number one, this is somebody else's child. Number two, when I try to push it that way, the repercussion from the establishment, now I would be fighting a system. Noted. So you realize that I was given the child to talk to just gauge the mind, what was she thinking and all that. But then you realize now when you want to fight it properly, you might fight it and ban, because you're dealing with a system that is against what you are trying to put in this child. And that's why they, yeah.
Well, continue, Kika. The guilds were independent. The blacksmiths supplied the hunters and carpenters with tools. The carpenters supplied wood to sculptors, and the hunters supplied skin to leather workers. Manok ng'iswaga telo. Ing'isowaga mana the gods must be crazy. Tongenge these movies. And some people who are hunting independent or get this network of system. The scarcity or shortage of one item, say pig iron, would affect many other craft industries. Ntia side note, it may be noted that membership constituted representation of a special interest group at the King's Council. Mapod wani that other idea. The guild and the king. The American and Western political systems lack this representation. As a result, special interest groups in the United States spend millions to lobby congresspersons to advance their agenda. Much has been written about the corruption of the political process by lobbyists, but the indictment of Republican lobbyist Jack Abramoff on corruption charges in November 2005 blew the lid off. Perhaps the ultimate and logical solution might be direct representation of the special interest groups in Congress. So Ongison, maybe mondo gistem off this corruption would be the special representation of these guilds in Congress. Tokoro, my question is, how about the counties? Can these special production interest groups Kenya locate into the county Congress? Mano jawagi ok bi yie. Joma so low self-esteem onge gima gi produce of value except from corruption. Bokelo problem. Factors of production and supplies and ownership. In indigenous Africa, all the factors of production were owned by the natives or extended families, not by their rulers, the chiefs, or by tribal governments. Feudalism was not commonplace in Africa except in Abyssinia, Ethiopia. That is a very important point. Because I watch on except in Abyssinia, Ethiopia. Ethiopia podine no gingu problems nyakasani. That means in popular language that Kenya. That means the productions were privately owned. Hunting spears, fishing nets, cattle, pots, huts, farm produce, fish, textile looms, gold jewelry shops, and various tools and products were privately owned. Gray observed this in the Sonjo of Kenya, in 1962. Generally speaking, property is privately owned among the Sonjo. The only important exception is the building plots upon which houses are built. These are communally owned. The other forms of property are owned by individuals. Thus, a piece of property such as a field, a beehive, a goat, at any given time can be traced in ownership to individual. According to Sonjo law, a man has ultimate ownership rights in his own property and in all property possessed by his patrilineal descendants for as long as he lives. When he dies, these rights are inherited by his heirs. Ownership of land, however, was an issue over which there was a great deal of confusion among experts. Manokoro body into alafu injeka korogidi land tena nkech land is the basis of production. Land is the basis of production systems. Yeah, we enjoy this part tell. Land tena. Mondingen, how we understand Africa and very orchestrated. The land of our villages belong to our fathers, and our mothers, meaning ancestors. Preamble to the Constitution of the San, S-A-N, which are the Bushmen of Namibia. Iwinjo kana kelo this concept koachon luo nentie obur. Winjie koro. Mondine, atsoga luo. Land was widely and erroneously regarded by the experts as communally owned. This confusion arose perhaps innocently from two sources. Ongegimon innocently. The first source was improper interpretation, whereas the American would say, this land belongs to me, the individual being the basic social and economic unit. The African would say, this land belongs to us, connoting the extended family. Unfortunately, early Europeans in Africa misinterpreted the us to mean the entire village or tribe. Of course, there were certain things that belonged to all, as we saw in chapter 1. In indigenous Africa, the ocean, the lakes, the forest, and the rivers did not belong to anyone. A river belonged to all, but a dam across the river was private property. Once someone applied his labor to something, it became personal property. The same attitude was extended to land. Once a family settled on an occupied piece of land and farmed it, it became theirs. The second source of confusion emanated from inability to distinguish various types of land holdings, land rights, and their intricate relationship to the king or chief. For example, the difference between ancestral, tribal, and stool land. Stool land and land for land mante ibuo komnya luocha. Kom Ramogi. Nkech land no be nyaka bede established. Ntie kuma gik moko ma the village timre. Okonyal bet tribal land. Kanwa somo a bit into the archives ni yudon kata in the kingdom kaka ma anywa yudon the place the village dance ntie in the court or makre with the court of the king. To ntie somebody who obetga in the council of the king matije is to take care of that space. So in even the systems manentie in Africa negin more complex than kaking in Yisowa.
Very complex.
Very, very complex.
Kapo kisudo ngato penjo ni sonje. Did you say sonje or sonje?
Sonjo.
O penjo ni sonjo enango. Please ask them.
It's a tribe in Kenya. Our tribe. Tell one almost 45 tribes. We know only 4 or 5. Okay. Giwa chokama. Nisaka one 45 and you can mention not 10. Most of us we cannot mention 10. Aya. Iwacho kama. Sonjo or Batemi gin part of, iwacho nitie some in Tanzania, but nitie some in Kenya. But majority giwacho nitie in Tanzania. Wacho ni the Sonjo population was estimated to number in 2002. The Sonjo population estimated to number around 30,000 individuals. The term Sonjo is the name given to the people by the Maasai. Group prefer to call themselves Batemi. The Sonjo people speak Sonjo, a Bantu language. They refer to it as Gitemi or Gitemi. The language's closest living cousins are found found around Mount Kenya, Meru, and Kikuyu. Telwangu 42 tribes. 40. Actually, almost.
Actually, somebody said 47. I don't know. I read somewhere. They said 47.
Wane Pinibo. Pongisa Adoro list. Engage majority we can only say. Gain 47. Kiwacho online sanigachon gain 47.
I read somewhere. I thought so. I read somewhere in 47.
So Embu, Embu, Ajuran, one, Meru, Pajuni, Boni, Borana, Pukusu, Burji, Chonyi, Dahalo, Digo, Dorobo or Ogiek, Duruma, El Molo, Gabara, Giriama, Gusii, Idako, Ilchamus, Isuka, Iteso, Chibana, Kabras, Kalenjin, Kambe, Kambata, Kedio, Kikuyu, Kipsigis, Kisii, Kuria, Luya, Luo, Masai, Malakote, Maragoli, Marakwet, Mbere, Nandi, James, Okiek, Orma, Pokomo, Pokot, Rendile, and Swahili. To Swahili coupled nitie a lot of different people here kanyo. Jomilongo no Swahili. Kanyo nitie mixture. Kidhi Mombasa tiro nitie bwane labda uketgi ka. Aya, ilistni aneno Malakote, Maragoli, Marakwet, and Mbere. But onge kata Mijikenda.
Mijikenda can give us the 9 minis of the coastal region. Mijikenda
is a grouping.
A grouping. Nikech katamana Kipsigis, Nandi, Kalenjins. Sometimes people don't know the difference. Jiparo and Kalenjins are Kipsigis and Kipsigis are Nandis. Those are totally, yeah.
Alafu Jiparon give Masai Bay, all of them.
Yes, something. Togimboro ni kanyo, did I hear it properly? Kisi and Gusi. Is that, did I hear what or I had something wrong?
Kisi, Gusi, and Achiel.
Yo, Kisi, Gusi, and Achiel. Right. Okay. Right, yeah.
So, winjo again.
Oh, Karaki Medo, Luopian, Wakisumu to 1 minute 48.
Luo nti already on the list.
No.
Luopians. Oh, you watching Luopians?
Hey.
Come to Luopians. To change number.
Okay.
So, tell abokwayo ni wagine. Wabodi through this. But abokwayo ni wagine walore a bit nikech
Yeah, I understand.
nitie one
Ang'eyo.
or two things ma
I
wadwa
understand.
awuono wadwa deal go,
I
but
understand.
ang'e ni wabodhi kata kiny podi wantie to wabodhi longer on this. To
Okay.
mae manonego wa go through also on Fridays, time ma wa go through Africa to wa go through this nikech Luo is interesting, but kikete in context ineno the beauty of it. Nikech ineno nokin Luo were not around fools. Jomoko go be nokofuo. Tingen kidwa neno gima shine, to afadhali ikete where there are other stars. But koketa by itself kamano to chal iparo no shine kara onyalo bet ni in a very dim star. Koro ineno kata this idea of land, ineno gimomiyo in Luo Oburu was important. Nikech jogi gisecure the means of production mokwongo and those laws. So I realized ni jogi nokofuo kakiparo. And to them, kata the land was very clear. Ng'amoduogo confuse gigi in the colonial government. Kechokaw lo te, to keto te, ten momiji title deed, ten mo decide ni malopi. Kama lopu, tadhi bakao title deed bakite nyinga, it is mine. Kudwaro kesi court margi. Kata ka viro elders wachon ma osebet lo ma jogi for a long time wachon. Seche moko ng'isin mae magima title deed wacho. So obedo complex. Tell ing'e case adi mantie court nikech title deed.
Moko bok dhi ga e court, moko itieko kopanga.
Kanyo.
Moko ok chop ga e court, moko itieko kopanga kanyo. In fact, Ramoth, not long ago, if I'm not wrong, one of the lecturers in one of Kenyan university, and he hails from Karachuonyo, was killed because of a land issue. Not long ago, this year, actually.
Mano this year. Aparo
Yes.
kwa talk about that.
Yes.
And the issue was very and Gimane not able handle it diplomatically, but Joka because of the breakdown of these things. Everything. Everybody will
So
lose the
Magi are
place.
live examples, man code were live. Okay, gik me manyo from anywhere. Yeah.
So Jogo Teo lose the land. What is the value of that? Ngatoto. A bright mind author. So a mind that would have produced more experts. Author.
Yes, and also you remember also Morobe not Mare is to Kenya actually. This guy Negilaro Load all the way from Nairobi he went home. He burned the house with nine family members. You remember that? Yes, Koroko banned the whole 9 family members of Kote. Okay, yes, they won't see the land, but Nbendo Make is in jail. Koro, who is benefiting
But
out
the
of the land?
potential teller. Okay, out of 9 people, Kenya Lingis and their majority are adults. Majority are children.
They were children.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the last one was 2 months old, I guess. I think.
Nah, tell. And this so actually in case of how Kenya is now, this one, the professor meets some of these children and creates the next generation of doctors, the next generation of engineers, the next generation of Jomadi Konyo Pain. But because of this confusion, Mobiro, about misunderstanding of the rules make land. Now a generation, Nkechimano is a whole 2 generations more. So we might Ngamodong, Trinano Jomodong, in the case of the professor, called Ngamodong in this other case, is Jomade system has created again. Mokbidi anywhere. Kata with that land, kata kimie, okobi enhance the value of the land. Eno duare manan kich gidwa puro, amodwa loso udi moko ma the European known is wani loso. Yes, and it will be over. onge gorofa moro manodhi loso kanyo, or something that will enhance the value of the land.
Quite sad.
Yeah. So the land to dong kanyo is there. So a whole person ma produce the next generation of brilliant minds is normal. To ngama ne nitie kanyo ma. So ema mi wacho ga ni in this system it produces even the idiots. Jomineno no quote unquote okosomogi. It is necessary for the system to create them. It is necessary. Nkechi system mwasomoni kata kawachni wakau mana West Africa for example, kaka there was a system of guilds. Mano is education. Nkechi wachon ngani kichako train from his father's house. Tineno Joma practice that system. One so amazed. Indians do this. Tineno, this is what we had. We had this. Onge gimawa indi puonjowa that is so new. We had this for thousands of years and it was working. No kinyal biro kanyo before we meet jogi iwachini there's this case of unemployment. Nkechi your father could not be there. Mondi bed with a guild of blacksmiths means the demand is high and a guild okinyal bed with a guild of 2 people. There must be an industry of those people. Weavers, an industry of them. Two, kaka give me waga these examples more paroni. There are only 2 weavers. In the village, there are only 2 weavers. Kila ngato was around. Neonge Jomodak, Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, everybody was around. So you don't need that place, there are even 50 blacksmiths.
That's true.
60. Money is what we lost.
Emomiyo ne gikelo Nairobi, Mombasa gine, then gigolo kuonde go mondo wadhi.
Nakode. Emomi the story of Odera Kango becomes more interesting, Sani. How he built it on guilds. Emomi he had to go. But that part of being indicated that opens your mind to, this is how we solve it. We can solve it again like this.
Very few people know what Odera Kango did. Very few. Just the only story he had got 30 policemen, some askari. Actually, they call askari. To know chwadoga parents mo koteru nyithinde school. That's all. That's it.
That is all.
That
is all. Katan is the first indigenous person to die in prison. We Katodeda and Kimathi. He's the first indigenous person to die like that. Magonge. Magonge. And just because of so telling in and then it becomes interesting again to the weekend for another 2 hours. Because these things are Gigi, Luo, Africa is interesting.
Very interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah. So just as finishing Africa did not exist also at that time. So words like Kenya, Africa did not exist.
Yeah, okay.
Did not. So it is an interesting discussion. More about it's such an interesting discussion. Telon kitchen money yawe we alore. Kagoni nikwara mogiero kamana hiyo. For being here, I really, really hope you learned something. Angeo ni nyakawa go through these things, okay, a lot and this and that. But mago kanyisa dear, we don't care. And we will continue doing it deep. Momio, Wabedo blocked and YouTube and Urban Talk and everything. Okay, to the nonsensical politics. So Koro the test is yours. Nikora Mogos. Ubodi into the nonsense because ubo mako gima bogero king. So Kamano for being here. Ero Kamano for being here. We really value your presence here. We do not take it for granted. I'll go Ero Kamano from deep down. Kata kun kanyo, kata kun jiario, unjia dek, It doesn't matter. Luo is here and here to stay. Osebetka for millions of years. Niwinjo ka ng'acha kao our words wachon. It has been here for millions of years. And we intend it to be here for thousands and millions of years more. So about do the intellectual work necessary to keep it going. Hopefully, we hope you will be part of us. Nobody called you. You hope you'll be part of us. Kawa medodi. Kawa go erokamano. Nijowa. Our peoples. Wago erokamano. Kodwa. Umakawa. Umiwa more. Umiwa motivation madhi mbele. Wago erokamano. To technical team, erokamano. Erokamano ahinya for keeping us abreast on what is happening. Kod kaka pok watieko kata 1 year to sechak miwa headaches. No, wasechako miji headaches. Wan ok miwa headaches, wamiyo ji headaches. So erokamano for keeping it there and keeping the candlelight burning. To kwerewa erokamano kabisa for having lived kaka nu live and living as such a rich legacy. Skill-wise, thought-wise, communication-wise, insight-wise, foresight-wise, erokamano. Erokamano so much for this technology, this this our thing, erokamano. Pagonu erokamano kabisa. Hopefully we live to an extent where we can make you proud and we are worthy of this prize. I'm very proud of Bedo. Coming from this talk of Luo and Bedoni, when was such a job, Belewa, to accomplish so much to do. We were the best gift, transforming our world and the world. Omi wero kabano for this privilege. To Ramogi Cultural Institute, Chunyuach, Churmon, the apple of the eye of every beholder. Erokamano. Erokamano for giving us the space. Erokamano no anyalo discuss kata gik mwa discuss kan kechumiwa space. To me wa covering to anyalo dhi mbele. Erokamano saidi from deep down in our hearts. One erokamano for bedo guest. To kata examples mishare go miwa neno really kaka how much of an impact Luo makes. Example manimi wanyoro makawuono. How much insight we gain kawanene from a very Luo and African perspective. Wago erokamano. Koro ngeche okwadhi budho DJ nyalo buogo amatin na fodhi mbele. But before mano, auda kin gimoro midwa tieko go to inyalo tieko go kapok wawe DJ otim gire.
Ramathaonge gi mang'eny. An bende Mara is just profoundly thank those who have come through to listen to us. Remember, kakwa wachoga they could be anywhere. Kawuono wan gi rally and everything maduong' sana ma weche awinjo ni mit sana. Awinjo ni mit sana. So they are here with us. Giwe makan kech makato kawaida bro wachi gi kiny the other day. So mine is actually just to thank cultural champions, and the engagement is quite. It really helps. Juma penjo. Somebody has also was listening to us, and I'm so privileged. He's a former. We were in school, I think 20 something years ago. We didn't just go to same universities, but we went to same high school, and he also commented about the water issue on X, and I really thank you, Wanga, for coming through. It really gives us. These are people who are doing a lot of things policy-wise to change the country and all this, but they come to grace us with their presence. Ngisoni gin yot luomo onyono piny ni luo consciousness nyaka dhi mbele. I'm really thankful. I really mentioned that specifically because I know his schedule, and I know that sometimes Okoyudgapulo. So I'm really thankful to each and every other cultural champion who comes, who has always been here with us, and every time we value your time. I'm really encouraged because a lot is going on. But to imagine that culture is taking a lead, and we are coming into cultural spaces to listen to low consciousness, it's really encouraging. And one of these fine days, Ramoth, wabro chamo diel ge jogi, wabro yango diel ne jogi. One of these fine days, Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage
Diel kose diang.
Research, diang ne jogi. Nikeche, it's important.
Ibo teri ko.
And man, and diang wayang ne jogi cham, diang ken manyo.
Ibo teri ko. Kinija luo piwa.
Ingalo di nyombo ke biang diang di chamo. Error kamano.
Aneno telo taneno ni jotuoro un strong ugolo shout out ni jotuoro wadu kara emomiyo ne undiko SMS tuoro
Kendo man mago jotuoro
okutin okutin
jotuoro motegno ahinya, jotuoro mano chakore chon. Facebook wan wachako Facebook e tuoro chore jo une gatinde ni kuni e Facebook to ulich ma
wacho ntinde Instagram akiang'o
nukolo puogo wan bana gigi ne wachako chon ituoro isomo go piny ngima
wacho ni poster my generation
Samondike to kinene, and Macha was magic. And some chieng mondike no, you don't see it. And nichako nene ko setuo after 2 days, koro rachar. Koro kineno, oh, okay. Samondike no, you don't see it. Macha was magical. One if Facebook was magical. Man will invent. Yeah.
Tuoro.
Come on.
We've been down for so long. It's time that we take a stand. Remove the shackles, make a plan. No more excuse for your situation. Now them take me out of Africa. Tell me mother, tell me father, Jesus Christ, I come. In slavery days, them children ways. Tell me who for praise. Control with them gun. Divide and rule is the game. You can't see things the same. Get up off your hollow head. We are all walking dead. Now them come again. New disguise telling us the same old lies. Church is here, church is there, church is almost everywhere. But things getting worse. Pure empty purse. And all we see is death and destruction. And the preacher preach and the teacher teach and all the data them a bleach and nothing go down. Gunshot here, gunshot almost everywhere. And we pray, and we pray, and we pray every day. not time we realize that 2,000 years have passed us by? Have we become more loving and kinder? Where is our love for Mother Nature? Shall we wait for a savior to come with this doctrine of a new millennium? Get up off your big fat ass. Work is worship, time a pass. You can't seize, you a carry the grass. So them take you out of Africa. Them never know say who that's still there. Honor your mother, honor your father. Love your sister, love your brother. Create a job, stop rape and rob. Get inside your mentality. Find your sensibility. Take your step one by one. Study hard, have a plan. The people perish if there's no vision. Life is one big road with a lot of signs. So please don't complicate your mind. Fight the fight with all your might. Build your strength from within. Don't let the future make you sin. Point your arrow, aim your aim. Life is like an archer's game, and if things remain, only you is to blame. So I tell you true, it's up to you to do. Get up off your big fat ass. Work is worship, time a pass. Don't let the children bear your cross. So them take we out our motherland. Try to kill we one by one. But now we wise and we overstand. What is the aim and what is the plan? Don't follow what them say. You can't throw your troubles away. You will have to take matters in your own hand. Personal responsibility is your only solution. So do for you what you can do. To yourself you must be true. Take some time to check your mind. $1 million. Start with one time. Take your step one by one. Study hard, have a plan. The people perish if there's no vision. Now them take way out of Africa. Tell me mother, tell me father, Jesus Christ, I come. In slavery days, them change the ways. Tell me who for praise. Control with them gun. Fire burn. Meanwhile, you're dancing to this music and trying to figure out these lyrics. Meanwhile, you're drinking and having fun. Watch out, the revolution come. Better be a part of this solution. This might be the final confrontation. Better awake to this reality. This is no time to lose your sanity. Cause by the ballot or the bullet, by the Bible or the gun, any which way, freedom must come. By the ballot or the bullet, by the Bible or the gun, any which way, freedom must come. Killing the children in Soweto, turning El Salvador in a one big ghetto, dumping waste on sea and land, building up arsenal of nuclear weapons, oppressing the Asians, bombing in Iran, troops in Afghanistan. There must be a solution, a revolution. By the ballot or the bullet, by the Bible or the gun, any which way, freedom must come. By the ballot or the bullet, by the Bible or the gun, any which way, freedom must come. Now you kill I today, you can't kill I tomorrow. Today for you, tomorrow you're in sorrow. Revolution for the poor, a change must come. Either by the Bible or by the gun, a change must come, a change must come. By the ballot or the bullet, by the Bible or the gun, any which way, freedom must come. By the ballot or the bullet, by the Bible or the gun, any which way, freedom must come. Talking to you leftists and capitalists, food, clothes and shelter have no politics. The Almighty Creator belongs to no religion. Ideologies won't bring about the solution. Now turn to the Psalms in the Bible and and show me your AK-47. Come make we fight oppression. Come make we find a solution. Come make we fight oppression. Come make we start a revolution. There must be